Hello and welcome to the Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Nowakowski. I am a salon owner, educator, mindset, and leadership coach that helps salon owners go from overwhelmed and burnt out to motivated and empowered. It is my mission to help you systemize your business, generate more profit, and create a career that you are absolutely in love with. Join us every week to learn about the small shifts you can make to elevate your business regarding mindset, marketing, social media, business systems, and so much more. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Elevate podcast. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to share today's topic. Today, we're talking about motivation. How do I motivate my team? If I could honestly get $1 or some sort of financial compensation for every single time somebody has asked this question, either to me as a coach or in a Facebook group. We actually recently just did a survey and somebody asked to do a podcast episode on this. And this is what actually triggered today's podcast. I was like, you know what? I really need to do a podcast on this to break the stigma that motivated teams create successful salons. Motivated teams do not create successful salons. Motivation doesn't work. And we're going to dive into why motivating your team does not work. And then we're going to dive into the secret sauce to what truly creates consistent, successful results for salon owners. And it has nothing to do with motivation. Hey there, salon owners. If you're here, I know you're someone who is serious about taking your salon and your life to the next level. I've got some exciting things to share with you today. If you love the tips and strategies we talk about in this podcast, I've created something that will take your journey to the next level. A weekly email series packed with actionable business tips designed specifically for salon owners. These emails are like your personal coach showing up in your inbox every week with the exact steps you need to level up your business. From tracking metrics that matter most to creating systems that simplify your life, I'll walk you through the strategies that have helped countless salon owners, including me, growing a thriving business. Here's how you subscribe. It's super easy to join. Just head to www.opulentbeautypro.com and sign up for free. That's right, it's free. One tip every week, straight to your inbox, no strings attached. And as we speak of growth, for those of you ready to go all in, let me tell you about the Salon Owner Blueprint program. This is the ultimate roadmap for salon owners looking to scale their business, lead with confidence, and hit those big revenue goals. It's packed with strategies to help you master your finances, grow your team, and attract the dream clients who fuel your vision. Whether you're just getting started or looking to refine your systems, this program will give you everything you need to thrive. Want to learn more? Visit www.opulentbeautypro.com/blueprint and take the first step towards your next breakthrough. I also want to give a quick shout out to our exclusive podcast subscription. This is where you dive even deeper into the topics we touch on here. As a subscriber, you'll get bonus episodes, behind the scene content, the insider access to my personal strategies for growing a successful salon business. For just $7.99 a month, you'll get unparalleled insights that you can start using immediately to see results. It's like having a business coach in your pocket. So here's what I want you to do. Subscribe to my weekly email list at www.opulentbeautypro.com. Check out the Salon Owner Blueprint program if you are ready to make big moves. And don't forget to subscribe to the Elevate Insider for exclusive game-changing content. Remember, success is in your hands, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. So I want to dive into why motivation does not work. And we are going to start with a couple basics, and then we're going to really dive into the psychology of motivation and why salon owners truly need to stop focusing on this. So first of all, if we are really relying on motivation to drive results in our business, then we are going to have inconsistent results because motivation is fleeting. Nobody feels motivated 100% of the time. And to have that expectation from our team is actually kind of really selfish. You, as a salon owner, I want you to think, do you feel motivated 24/7? It is physically impossible for a person to feel motivated 24/7. And the amount of time and effort that needs to be put into creating motivation in the salon is wasted energy. Motivation is fleeting. So again, we can't expect something from our team that is absolutely impossible. I also want to remind people that external pushes like bonuses, speeches, pep talks, all of these things, they fade very quickly, again, creating inconsistency in the building. And most of the time, people will automatically fall back into their default habits and their comfort zones because this is just human nature. I also want to remind everyone that personal drive and motivation is internal. Every single one of your team members is going to have their own true desire and their own motivator. I always talk about this as we go through life. We have different motivators, especially stylists in our salon. Sometimes their motivation will be money. Sometimes their motivation will be freedom. Sometimes their motivation will be status inside of the salon. And you really have to understand what each person's motivator is. So for you as a salon owner trying to do contests and like different things inside of the salon, that's not going to motivate 100% of your team because not everybody has the same drive for the same perk and benefit. So we have to understand that people's true motivation comes from their own values, their own desires, and their life circumstances. And it's not going to come from what you want from them. Never, period. You can't insert motivation into somebody. You can only create conditions where they choose to act consistently. And that is the key. Consistent businesses create results. And inconsistency kills results. If you rely on motivation, performance will swing depending on moods, energy, personal life events of your team. And your business needs predictable results, not emotional highs and lows. So we really need to stop trying to create results in our business based off of our team's motivation. It's not where it's at, okay? I want to dive into kind of the mindset behind motivation so you can really understand the psychology of it, okay? Because I think once we understand the natural human behavior, we can kind of get our mindset out of trying to motivate our team all the time into truly creating systems and accountability to create consistent results. Okay, so one, let's talk about why it's impossible to truly motivate somebody. Motivation is an internal drive. Every human is going to operate out of their mixed values, their needs, and their own personal desires. What you care about and what I care about may overlap a little bit, but they're never going to be identical. So, for example, one of your stylists may want to make more money for a house, another may want enough income to cover rent, to hang out with friends. No amount of inspiration from you changes their actual priorities. What are your team's priorities? If you have a team of young people that live at home with their parents and have no financial responsibility, do you really think money is going to motivate them? No, there's no pain point for money. So if that is what your team consists of, what is their motivation? What is their desire? What are their values? What are their needs? Most people who are young do not have financial needs. I hate to say it. They have freedom needs and they have status needs. A lot of these people want to be influencers. The people who are going to have financial needs are going to be people who own houses, people who rent their apartments, people who are paying for a wedding, like my stylist Maggie is paying for a wedding right now. She is very financially motivated. This is why it's so important that we really dive into really good hiring practices. You should be incorporating questions on what people have going on in their lives to understand what their values, needs, and desires are and what those can shape into as they are working for you. You can't insert drive into another person. At best, you can trigger their existing internal drive if it aligns with your business goals. You need to create an amazing hiring process so that you weed out the people that don't align with your business goals. If your business goals are to make money, do not hire people who do not have any financial responsibility. Okay. Or if you don't want to make that a priority, then you need to ask people, especially if they live at home, do they have any financial responsibility? Like my stylist, Melanie, was very motivated by money, even though she lived at home with her parents because she was made to pay for everything on her own. Okay. So I just want to make that very clear. I also want to talk about how external motivation is temporary. Pep talks, incentives, rewards can give a spike of energy, but it fades. It's kind of like a sugar rush, right? Like it feels really good in the beginning when you eat that piece of candy or if you eat that chocolate, but then eventually, like maybe you get a stomach ache and maybe it's just not as good, you know? So, external motivators are intrinsic and they don't touch a person's deeper why. What is your team's why? Why do they do hair? Why are they working for you? What are their goals? Are they real goals? Are they goals that are attainable? Or are they just kind of doing hair because they want to do hair? It's very hard to get people who kind of just fell into this industry to get them to do anything, or if this was just kind of like a last minute option. So I want to give you an example. So say you give your stylist a $50 bonus for hitting retail goal and they push hard for a week and then they go right back into their old habits because the reward isn't tied to their true internal purpose. External motivation equals sugar rush. Internal drive equals lifestyle. We need to paint a picture of a lifestyle, not of something that is instant gratification. That is not how you are going to motivate your team. If you have somebody who wants to be a educator, that is a lifestyle. If you have somebody who is trying to get married or buy a home, that is a lifestyle. That is not something that is one and done in a second. You also cannot force people into wanting something. You can require compliance, but you cannot make somebody care. If a team member fundamentally does not value growth, excellence, or financial success the way that you do, no speech, no meeting, no contest will make them want it. Another example is a stylist says they want a full book of clients, but they don't want to post on social media. They don't want to rebook. They don't want to upsell. That's because they actually don't want it bad enough. And if they don't want it bad enough, they're not going to take action and they're not going to take action required. Action always reveals true motivation. If the action is not there, the desire isn't real. You can't force somebody to want something. Also, I want to talk about internal motivation and the three sources. So, this is actually researched and it is called self-determination theory. People are motivated when three psychological needs are met: autonomy, they feel like they are choosing and they're not being forced; competence, do they feel capable and confident in their skill? This is a huge component. There are so many people that come into the salon that want to do hair, but they do not have the mindset to back it up. A lot of them don't feel capable. A lot of them don't feel confident. If they do not have that, they are not going to move forward. They are not going to try because they feel like it's unattainable or they don't feel like they are able. And relatedness. They feel connected to a bigger purpose or a community. Y'all, this goes back to culture. Are you actively working on your culture? Do you have a bigger purpose with your salon? Do you have a community inside of your salon? If those three things are not present, then there is no motivation. There's no external push and there's no substitute for it. So, as a leader, it is your job not to motivate, but to create an environment where internal motivation can flourish for each individual in your salon. It's creating a culture, and it's understanding the people that you are hiring. I also want to talk about how motivation cannot be outsourced. If you're a salon owner and you think if I just find the right words, the right prize, or the right system, I can get them motivated, that is not the key. That is not the key. The reality is that stylists have to decide that they want it for themselves. You can tell a team member exactly how to make six figures, but if they don't value discipline, consistency, or financial freedom, they won't do it. Again, you need to incorporate that into your interview process, into your meetings. Really figure out the mindset and the psychology behind every single person working for you. Motivation is a mirror, not a gift. It has to come from within the person themselves. How you can start building confidence to spark motivation, you need to work on skill building through repetition. Don't just tell your team to practice until they feel competent. They're not going to do it on their own. You need to have them take models, you need to role play with them, and you need to train your team. You need to celebrate small wins, like I just shared. Point out their progress, not just the results. Do monthly one-on meetings with your team. Go over their numbers, show them their growth, look at their social media growth. We need to track these things so that we can sustainably show them how they are consistently growing. This is a huge one, people. Huge. And I see this with a lot of the new stylists I have who were working at other salons with poor leadership. You need to create safety to fail. They need to feel comfortable coming to you when they don't know what they're doing. And if they do something wrong, do not make your team feel bad. Please stop making your team feel bad for redos or messing up somebody's hair or making a mistake. I have so many stylists that come to me and their confidence is 100% lost because of bad leadership. And it literally makes me sick to my stomach and it really pisses me off because we have to create a safe environment. It is just hair. We're going to get bad reviews. They're going to make mistakes. We need to turn those mistakes into learning lessons, and we need to make them know that they are in a safe space without judgment. And then we need to stack experiences. So every time someone succeeds, no matter how small, you need to stack those confidence bricks and build their wall of self-belief. You need to point out every little thing that they're doing that's good, even if it isn't the best. If it's an improvement, point it out. That's our job when it comes to leadership. I also want to talk about systems and accountability. Y'all, if there's no consequence, people aren't going to do what you tell them to do if they don't feel like it. The biggest thing that you can do is to have accountability in your salon. You need to have standards and you need to hold people to those standards. And if they are not being held to the standards, that's a you problem. It's not a them problem. If it's something that they're not being held to do and they aren't motivated, then you need to hold them accountable to the standard you set. You need to check in with people. If somebody does something that they're not supposed to be doing, you need to call them out. You need to do write ups. You need to do these things. Systems and structure are consistent. Motivation is fleeting. You need to have clear expectations when you set benchmarks, processes. You need to have defined roles. You need to make sure there is no confusion on what success looks like in your salon. And if somebody isn't hitting those expectations, they need to go, or you need to have a hard conversation with them until they get there. And systems create consistency. A system creates a repeatable process. Clients, service, team operations. We need to have structure in place and follow that structure because that's also going to create efficiency. And efficiency and strong structure eliminate wasted time and energy because everyone knows what to do and how to do it. And that is how success is measured. And accountability is also huge. You need to follow through. When someone knows that you are checking their progress, they are far more likely to follow through, even if they aren't feeling it. Like, for example, my social media, I will randomly check my stylist social media all the time. And I will send them a message on Band and be like, hey, you haven't posted in 2 weeks. I need you to post this week. Here are some ideas. I know you need this in order to have a successful career, so I need you to stay on top of this. It's not emotional. It is kind accountability. I'm going to trademark that. Kind accountability. We need to take the emotion out. It's not mean. We have to remember when we hold our team accountable, and if they are offended by our accountability, that's not our problem. That's their problem. And if they are continually offended by your accountability, then you have to really think if they are right for your salon. So accountability is huge. Also, ownership, regular reviews, coaching, reporting, create a sense of responsibility for your team. Without accountability, even the most talented stylist that you can have can drift off, and that is not what you want. You also want a culture of standards, people. Please don't let your culture happen by accident, because if you're not intentionally creating it, that is what is going to happen. And I want you to remember, accountability isn't punishment. It's reinforcement of the salon's values, brand promise, and standards that you set for your business. You don't need to motivate people. You need to design a system that runs on structure and accountability. This way, success doesn't depend on whether your team feels like it today or when they do feel like it. You're never going to get consistent results when you just focus on trying to motivate your team. Systems ensure that the right behaviors happen consistently, and that is what's going to create results. I also want to talk about, if you are a salon owner and you are just like, I can't motivate my team, they're not motivated to do anything. That is not a team problem. That is a you problem. Your leadership is lacking. I'm sorry. If you're taking offense to this and this is hard for you to hear, it's probably true and what you're living right now. It is a you problem. It is you not holding your team to the standards, and it's you not holding your team accountable. So you need to build confidence, create training structure. You need to hold your team accountable. And remember that motivation is fleeting. Systems, accountability, and confidence create growth. Look at your salon right now. What's one area you're relying on motivation instead of structure? Is it retail? Is it rebooking? Is it referrals? Is it your team trying to get clients in? Or is it some other area? You need to start by documenting that one system and adding accountability. Small shifts create big change. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you loved today's episode, and if you would be so kind to share, that would be amazing. And be sure to leave a review and subscribe and follow our podcast. Thanks for tuning in to the Elevate podcast. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. The Elevate podcast is hosted by me, Patricia Nowakowski, and is produced by Opulent Beauty Pro. To receive my free business guides, visit opulentbeautypro.com/free or click the link in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at Opulent Beauty Pro or at Patricia_Nowakowski_OBS. If you love this show, please consider subscribing, and we will see you next week.